Welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, first weekend of the race season 2025 here in Misano, Italy. And this is not only about truck racing, this is about the One Truck family and all the fans that brought their very special work tools, design, speakers. This one even brought a trial, motorcycles, and so on and so on. You call it. It's like a big party going on over here, and it's like an overflow to the eye what's going on. So I was like, I really have to show you the fan base that circled around the races. Race number 4 is just about to get started very soon, and of course we have Chess Record, our commentator, in the house again as well. And if I happen to hear you later on, Chess, I'm very happy to be working along with you. But just dive a little more into this before I'm handing over to Great Britain.
Thank you very much, Lena. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final race of the weekend here in the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And welcome to sunny Italy and Misano. As you've seen, it's a real party atmosphere here in Italy and back in the paddock as well with all of the trucks. It certainly is a great place to be. And at the moment, all of our racing trucks are preparing at the end of the pit lane to head out onto the grid for the last race of the weekend. It's certainly come around very quickly here in the season opener here at Misano. It always does, to be fair, because as you all know, time flies when you're having fun. And the grid is prepared and everybody is waiting for them to head down to the start-finish line before, of course, all the presentations and everything will be done. It'll only be a few minutes before the grid is filled with our trucks. We have the Iveco S-E-Way, our official pace truck, and then the official truck itself, the Ford F-Max, making its way to the grid. So are all of the personnel and the teams. And we're going to have a quick look back at the highlights from race 3, especially as it helped form the grid for how we got here for this one today. There was a little bit of cloud in the air, but still great vibes at the front of the grid with the band providing us with some wonderful music. Thumbs up and smiles from a lot of the drivers and a lot of conversation ahead of the race itself. After a very busy Saturday, a lot of them were quite grateful to have had a bit more of a chilled start to their Sunday. That was not the case, though, for Stefan Faas. Unfortunately, the truck having to be towed away from the grid and taken into the paddock. They would eventually come back out into the race a little bit later on, but it wouldn't be for very long at all. Norbert Kish led the way from Jochen Hahn, while Sascha Lenz had damage from some initial contact with Mark Taylor. And then the battles got underway. René Reiner and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez enjoyed a race-long battle. Mark Taylor eventually getting involved in that one as well. Clemens Hecker and Luke Garrett looked for some very strong results in the Chrome class as Mark ended up with a 5-second penalty. But it was Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn that stretched away at the front. Antonio Albacete had to defend from Steffi Halm in the later stages, and it was a really good, fun battle to watch before they eventually remained in order. Stefan Kirsch had to get his elbows out as well and defend, while Bradley Smith pulled off this fantastic move around the outside of Jonathan Andre in the first sector. But Norbert Kish took his 3rd race of the weekend, setting himself up for a grand slam here to begin his campaign at Misano, ahead of Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete, the 3 of them having 15 championships between them. And I'm sure they have their eyes on many, many more. The Iveco S-E-Way, starting at the front of the grid, will lead our trucks around for the formation lap in a few minutes' time, as May Fisher brings the official truck, the Ford F-Max, to the front of the grid as well. Here is the pace truck, brought to us here this weekend by Iveco, driven by Nico from Iveco as well. Lovely, shiny, brand new machine for them to present to us here. And we're going to head back down to Lena, who has a very special guest with her on the grid, who has just gotten out of the pace truck itself.
Yeah, Riccardo Patrese is in the house, Formula One driver, and also enthusiast about truck racing, I heard. This is your first truck race ever, right?
Yeah. From today, I think I'm enthusiastic about truck racing. I think it's nice to be in the paddock. The atmosphere is fantastic. Competition, as usual, when you come to this kind of level, because it's Formula One for trucks, I think is very high, so competitive, good fights, so nice to be here.
I was just watching Imola a little bit in between when I had my break. Have you been there as well? Are you running in between the racetracks?
Yeah, I was yesterday to see the official qualifying, and then I came here to have a look of trucks racing.
And have you seen the first race of today already, or is this the first race you're actually
No, I saw race 3, yes. That is my first race I saw. Interesting, a lot of fights, especially for third position. And interesting, and I think that being also an official FIA event, the level is very high.
It is, and it's a very different way of sitting in the car, having the curb right in front of you. Did you experience that? I mean, I think it's more lovely to drive yourself, isn't it, than being the co-pilot only?
Well, I was a passenger in the pace truck, and I discovered the electric engine that is very powerful for acceleration, very comfortable because very silent. It's a nice Iveco truck with new technology. Iveco is always trying to get in any new ecology way of power, and it's performing very well also in the electric side. So at the end, I think maybe is the future, we will see. But anyway, it was very interesting to have a ride.
Yeah, motorsports is changing every year. We feel like something new is coming up on the horizon, so you never know what's happened next. The Truck Racing Championship is the first one to ever have a fully electrified pace car, so that's something new for sure. There are so many cars. Do you have any driver that you already got to speak to? Anyone?
Of course, Jochen, that finished second before, and of course I just met them. The Iveco team, of course, because I'm here to be as a fan of Iveco, of course, but we will see a race too, because now there is the reverse grid, so maybe it's more interesting to see if who finish in front now they can get back to good position.
I will walk over with you to the starting grid. We are almost there to also welcome our guests from the international television. And in the front, I just saw that Rainy Reinhardt, who just returned to European Truck Racing Championships. He had a break of 3 years, and he bought Norbert Kisch's old truck. And this truck and the driver, they're both really doing well. So I'm giving him the chances to maybe stay in front. He did a very nice job defending himself at the races beforehand. So maybe we should do a little battle of putting our fingers on some numbers and see if they might win the race. Would be lovely. So he is just coming back.
I think he did a good overtaking maneuver in race 3. Now starting in front, it looks that he has a pace that maybe can be very difficult to beat.
Okay, so I let you go. I will stand over there as we're welcoming the world audience in a second. And if you want to welcome them as well, just stay with me. Otherwise, I give you the time to just check out a little bit what's going on over there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And let's see how the race goes.
Ciao, bye-bye. Ciao.
Tanta grazie.
Well, I tell you what, we get some really cool guests on the grid in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and with no disrespect to any of them, Riccardo Patrese has to be up there as one of the very coolest, a childhood name for me, racing in Formula One. But I'm just going to go quiet for a few minutes, as is everybody else, and we are going to welcome our international TV audience as we go live to the international feed around the world in just a few moments' time.
A big hello to Misano, Italy, in race number 4 of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here in Misano, Italy, and we are just about to get started. big grid, reverse grid actually, and let's turn around to see who's starting out in front. It's Clemens Hecke and it's René Reinhardt, who just came back after a 3-year break. He bought the old Baloo, it's Baloo Senior, so to say, the old truck from Norbert Kisch. He's doing a fantastic job. He has not been racing for like 3 years. He just sat in and he became 5th and 6th and 4th and whatsoever. So really, really nice defensive driving over there. So this is going to be a great start. Mark Taylor over here, really strong appearance. Then of course we have our youngster in the team, Mr. Reponcotti, also always does a great job driving. We have Antonio Albacete, already became 3rd today, and who is back in his great mode. Steffi Halm, him and Albacete, they were fighting so much in race number 1. So let's see how this story in between those two is going to go. And she already earned her golden elbows yesterday, defending herself. So I'm really excited for this race to start. We have our commentators in the house as well. Jess Draycott for the English audience. We have Fonsi Sebran for the Spanish. And of course, we also have Joachim Eberts for the German-speaking audience. So welcome back and enjoy today's last race for this weekend.
Thank you, Lena. Hello, everybody. Chaz Draycott here, commentating from the UK for the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm very happy to say that the weather here in the UK is even nicer than it is in Misano right now. I don't imagine it's any warmer here in the UK, but it certainly looks mighty lovely out of my window right now. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend wherever you may be around the world, and hope you're enjoying the action, of course, from this fantastic championship. We just had a word with Riccardo Patrese on the grid a moment ago. How cool is that? What a guest to have. Here is Misano itself, though. Such an amazing circuit is Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, named after the amazing MotoGP rider who we so tragically lost in 2011. The circuit itself is very, very tricky for our trucks. There are some big, heavy braking zones, long, high-speed sections as well. And certainly, I think that there's a few bits that have been catching drivers out this weekend. The first corner has caught a few out into the final sector as well, which is a shortened version of the full layout, just to make sure the trucks don't go too close to any barriers. It has been certainly an interesting bit to watch as they get hard onto the brakes. The weather has been a bit unpredictable at places. It's been raining very hard yesterday in the afternoon, especially at the end of the second race. During said race, when it started raining, Steffi Halm in number 44 just nearly got ahead of Sasha Lenz before the red flag came out. She's waiting for a quick word with Lena.
We are just like getting the Goodyear tires mesh hat that they're racing with. Really nice stuff over there, and really nice stuff that you did in the racetrack. Only lady in the house, so to say. And yeah, you have a very nice defensive style. I really was hoping for you to get on 3rd place, but like kind of the time was running out. So what are you fighting for now?
Yeah, in the first race, for sure, we were lucky then also finish 4th, but we were not able to catch Antonio. But now, you know, it's a new race, new start. Most important thing to have a good start, a clear start, no crash, no damage, and just finish the race on a good position. This is the goal.
Yeah, you always happen to have quite a lot of damages because somehow people also like looking for you. It sometimes feels like. Then you have the bumps, but you always get like out of it somehow. So you're really doing a good job over there. Does it sometimes feel like they're looking for you, or is it just like in the fight we have very tight corners over here, so it just happens, I guess?
Yeah, you know, it's just the racing. It's a contact sport, so for sure at the start all the trucks are together and it's getting really tight. And you know, you have contact, can be fair, it's just racing, and you can have contacts which are not fair and too hard. So till now I just had some contacts, but all of them were okay. So I'm happy with that because we are racing and not playing dolls.
Exactly, and also for herself. You know, it always costs money to fix the truck. It's like everyone is private over here, so I really hope for you that it stays in nice shape and that you find a gap over there to sneak through and push in the front and just stay there. I really hope the best for you. So let's go over there where Jochen and Norbert are again standing next to each other. It's always the two of them, and as you already know, it's they're both like 6-time European champions fighting for who might become for the first time the 7th European champion. So this is writing history. So far they're really, really focused on what they have to do. Of course, Jochen wants to beat him Second place it was all these races. So let's see what's going on in his mind for now.
So what can I say? In English, position 7, we speak about the first row. It's a little bit dynamite in inside. So it's a little bit, we have 2 impulsive guys in the front. So I think the start is very important to watch what happened in the front. And then we make racing.
And you have done great racing so far with your new truck. Does it have a new name, by the way?
Yeah.
Is it called Diana? It's Lexi.
It's Lexi.
How did you come up with the name Lexi?
I cannot tell you the true story.
So, Lexi, you just do your job, whatever. Diana is smiling, look at her. So, did you choose the name? No, okay. Actually, I wonder, Norbert's car is called Baloo, and I never know the stories behind the truck's names, I'm just realizing. So, there's a lot to discover besides all the racing that's going on. By the way, Luke Garrett, I have to show you for a quick second, also a family team. They're doing such an effort all the time to come back. They had so many issues in between, and now he, even in Chrome class, got his first trophy on 3rd place. Really, really nice job so far. You're all confident? Yes, this is going to be a good race. Do we see Luke back on the podium? Yeah, I think so as well. Let's see how he's doing. Super focused. Last quick word from him, and then I'm heading back to Chess. Good to see you again. You're smiling. Things are finally running smoothly, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. As you know, we've had quite a few problems even last year and the beginning of this weekend. But yeah, really good to have a podium.
Okay, so I cross my fingers. We're not even jinxing stuff and talking too much about it. I really love to see you race finally in a nice pace and a good mood. So let's go for more trophies, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, lovely. So we have also our French driver in the house. Oh, there's so much more to discover. Chess, I'm heading over to you, and let's see if I find one more interview partner before the race starts.
Thank you very much, Lena. It was always a risky question asking Jochen Hahn something like, where did you get the name for your truck? Because, well, we know Jochen, he's a real joker. He's got a fantastic sense of humour. The whole team does. And it's also lovely to hear from Luke Garrett and the Garrett Truck Sports squad as well. It was so heartwarming to see them get that podium without any British bias as well. Just, I'm sure everybody in the One Truck family would have loved to see Luke finally get that podium. Him and the team have worked so hard. They've had so many technical gremlins over the last season and a half now. It's great to see that pay off and for them to score an all-important podium in the Chrome class. Maybe even more to come from him, and maybe even more to come from Clemens Hecker as well. He starts on pole position on the front row of this race. So he's definitely in with a good shout of getting some good Chrome points, maybe a win. He's had a 3rd place and a 2nd place on the podium in the last 2 races. The only one he's not had yet is 1st. But what about Mark Taylor? What about this man, Louis Requenco, as well? He's going to be looking for some big points in this race. He's starting down in 14th on the grid, though. He had a spin at the start of the last race. He qualified really well near the top end of the order. I think he was 8th overall, but then a little bit of contact with Rene Reinert spun him around. And Bradley Smith has also had an issue too. This is going to be an interesting race for Sascha Lenz. It's race number 300, and he's with Lena.
It is, and look who's there as well, Steffen Faas, but I don't want to talk to him. I want him to race, and I'm quickly saying congratulations to Sascha, but they're having a talk over there right now. It's race 300, you know that. In the European Championship, this is your 300th race. So good luck to you.
Dankeschön.
Okay.
What can I say? Nothing.
Just find your way to the front and do what you have to do and have a lot of fun. I really cross my fingers for Steffen Faas, and the race is about to get started. Finally!
I tell you, Sascha sounded so pleasantly surprised by that, didn't he? Bless him. Absolutely love that from Sascha. Great reaction. But he's so passionate about his racing. You know, we've seen Sascha in all forms of emotion through the motorsport, whether he be absolutely over the moon and completely elated, or completely dejected and very upset with a poorer result or a mechanical failure, for example. So it's great to see his emotions pour out like that. We've got the inspection lap underway, the Ford F-Max, which is the official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The Ford F-Max itself has been tested by 500 Ford engineers over a 5-year period. Those tests were carried out in 11 countries, 4 continents, and used over 200 prototype units. It was the International Truck of the Year in 2019 as well, and we've had one on our grids now for a good 6 years in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we once again thank Ford Trucks for their continued support as an official partner of the series. It's great to have them on board. So right now, everybody just waiting for the get-go and waiting to get this race underway. We're all very excited and we're all certainly buzzing. Usually the last race of the weekend is one of the most exciting. The reverse grid races always provide great action, with the fact that the grid is completely flipped around. There's a bit more overtaking in these races, a bit less representative pace on stuff that's based from qualifying performances. So we're looking forward to seeing who can make it work in this one. Norbert Kish has taken 3 race wins this weekend. Jochen Hahn has taken 3 second places. But the third step of the podium is anybody's guess so far. Steffi Halm in the first race, Sasha Lenz in the second race, and Antonio Albacete in the third. 30-second board is shown. It'll be intriguing to see what happens in the Chrome class as well, of course. Mark Taylor has taken 2 race victories there so far this weekend. Clemens Hecko is in second place in the last race ahead of Luke Garrett. Those two have had 2 and 1 podiums apiece this weekend. But looking at the rest of them, it's, again, anybody's guess, really. Stefan Faas, no official results from him so far, I'm afraid, but he's on the grid for this final race. And once again, so too is our official pace truck, the Iveco S E-Way. Fully electric pace truck for the first time in any motorsport series, from what I can understand. The first time we've had an all-electric machine as our pace truck too. And here is your grid, ladies and gentlemen. Heinrich Clemens Hecker on pole position with René Reiner alongside him. René's first weekend back in the championship, and he starts on the front row. He'll be loving that. Mark Taylor on row 2 with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. They aren't fighting in the same tooth and nail approach as they were last year for the Chrome title, with one of them now being a Titan driver. Steffi Halm, she's having a great weekend so far. She's hoping for good things from 5th on the grid ahead of Antonio Albacete. Then it's Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kish alongside one another. Just to recap on Steffi's weekend, she's had a 3rd place and 2 4th places. Great stuff. Luke Garrett next up alongside John Newell. It's a shame after Luke Garrett's great battle with Clemens Hecker in that earlier race that he won't be anywhere near him on the grid now. Jonathan Andre in 11th place with Stefan Kirsch alongside him on the 6th row. And then behind that we'll have Bradley Smith and Louis Requenco. Bradley having a penalty earlier on, which dropped him much further down the order. And as a result now in the championship, I'm just going to have a quick look at where Bradley is. Christian Ruppert next up, 15th on the grid with Sasha Lenz just behind him. And then at the back of the grid, we should have Stefan Faas in the Freightliner making its appearance. And in the Chrome Championship, it's Mark Taylor, 9 points clear of Clemens Hecker, then Jonathan Andre, then Bradley Smith now in 4th. He's 2 points ahead of John Newell, so it's mighty close between all of them. Here's a lovely camera on board, but just listen. The silence of the Iveco S E-Way. It's almost eerie, isn't it, as it powers its way around the circuit. I think Christian Ruppert should be alongside Sasha Lenz on the grid there, on the right-hand side, but instead he's got Stefan Faas on the right. Either that or the left-hand train is slightly behind, I'm not quite sure. I think they are a little bit behind, actually, on the left-hand side. We'll see. I think Christian Ruppert, from my eyes, was supposed to be on the right-hand side of the grid. Yeah, he's supposed to be in front of Stefan Faas on the right. He's meant to be between Bradley's white and yellow Iveco and Stefan Faas's red Freightliner. So Stefan is in an incorrect position here for the start of this race. Not quite sure whether Christian has fallen behind and hasn't had an opportunity to get back in front yet, or whether he's conceded. He knows that this is a learning year for him. Just saw Jane Bigler a moment ago preparing to film the social content for the SL Truck Sport 30 team. Sasha Lenz, their star driver, doing great things as always, but he's going to need to do greater things from the back of the pack here this time round. There is the pace truck making an interesting change from the usual metallic blue that we have on the Iveco S-Way, the Bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way. That will be on circuit later on in the championship. Once again, it looks quite gloomy here at Misano, but I can bet it's still mighty warm down there. So, are we ready, everybody? Are we ready for the final race of the weekend, round number 4 of the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, with Clemens Hecker and René Reinert on the front row. One Chrome driver, one Titan, all the engineers ready to shout go. And there it is. We are underway for the final race of the weekend here at Misano. A good start by Louis Requenco, it seems. He dives out to the left-hand side of the grid. Moves alongside John Newell, I believe that is. René Reinert round the outside into turn 1. Clemens Hecker keeps it tight down the inside. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez tries to get up into second position as well. 3 wide in the background as Sasha Lenz tries to go around the outside. Mark Taylor has to dive out of it. Contact with Antonio Albacete again. That's the second time in 2 races. And they will be hoping to avoid further... Sorry, it wasn't Mark Taylor and Antonio Albacete earlier. It was Sasha Lenz as Antonio is turned around in front of the pack. And he's collected. It's collected by Luke Garrett. The two of them smashed into each other. I don't think Luke would have seen him. Antonio was completely sideways in there. And oh, dearie me, that's made a big old mess of the A-pillar. Hopefully they're both okay, but I imagine the race will be red flagged very, very quickly. Those trucks are not going anywhere anytime soon. We wait for the official verdict. I'm keeping my eye out for it. I think Antonio has managed to move the truck away. But that would have been a big, big impact, that one. You can see it's bent the door out of shape. Looks like the roll cage has held true, though, on Luke's truck. But Antonio was turned sideways. There's the red flag out. Antonio was turned sideways. I didn't quite see who it was. But he was tagged from the inside. And around he went. And then as all the rest of the trucks scattered right and left to avoid him, unfortunately a gap opened up in the middle. And Luke collected the side of the MAN. As mentioned, though, it didn't seem to knock the roll cage out of shape or anything. We're going to quickly go to Lena, though. She's on the ground down there in the pit lane.
Team of Luke Garrett, and I just wondered, of course, if he's okay. And yes, he is, but this is really such a shame. I have no words for how sorry I am for what just happened. Specifically you, as we just said, he's finally in the game. And I have stars in my mouth because I would sway a lot right now. How are you doing?
Oh, okay. We've heard from him and he said that he's okay, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, but that seems like a lot of work that is waiting. Lawson's ring is also waiting. So
yeah, it doesn't look good. Hopefully everything will be okay.
I just hope for him that he's really safe and sound, that nothing happened to him in the physical way. The truck just looks really, really broken. So yeah, all I can say is I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
So let's see how Tim Frost is doing, because also Antonio Albacete yesterday had quite a day. And there they are. Come with me for a second. They're just getting prepared for him to maybe come back here, and they can see if they manage to bring him back on track. Of course, this race is having a break now. Let's see if someone knows how he's doing. Does anyone know how Antonio's doing right now? Is he okay? You don't know? Okay, so they're running. Yeah, okay. So at least one truck that seems to be able or fixable. Chaz, I'm handing back to you as we have no overlook over the situation down here right now.
Yeah, it seemed like everything was okay down there. Antonio clearly okay enough to drive the truck back at least. And that was quite the whack in the door there. Shows you just how strong these trucks are. The initial damage, I think, is what's taken the right-hand body panel off. And of course the door has been dented in the front of the cab and everything. Antonio stopping there because he's just reached what is effectively the back of the queue. And there is the MAN of Luke Garrett being towed away. Not sure if the bodywork is getting stuck on the wheel there. They're telling them to wait. That is, that's not delicate towing, to say the least, is it? They're just communicating with Luke for a second. He's shouting at them, just asking them to wait. He's clearly very annoyed, and understandably so. It seems like they're trying to move it as quickly as possible, but there's obviously a bit of a communication breakdown going on in there. It's not the time for that, to say the least. But at least, I mean, you can take that as a sign that Luke's perfectly okay with the fact that he can get that animated in the cockpit. Yeah, but yeah, a very, very angry bloke right now, understandably. They have to try and avoid doing any further damage. That's the problem. I think he was trying to point out that the steering had been broken as a result, and obviously if they're trying to drag the truck like that, then it could put further stresses and strains on the steering. There's Franz Stahlberg from the FIA, Tim Frost just over on the right there as well, and you can see Lena further down the pit wall. Seems like they're going to restart everything with the original grid order, I believe. I think because we hadn't completed an individual lap of the race yet, they're going to basically go from a clean slate and start completely again as we were. Sasha Lenz will have to start right at the back. Luke is now trying to communicate with them about what to do and how to get the truck moved out of the way. Bradley Smith there being told to go over to the right-hand side of the grid, as was originally intended, from 13th, Louis Requenco on the left. Back to Lena, though, on the grid. Antonio Albacete still on circuit.
Yeah, there he is, and I meant to talk to Tim for a second, but I think he really waits for him to be here to do some quick fixing right now. Did you hear from him if something serious is broken?
The minute, only information we have was it was a big hit to the side. The steering is touching something. Yeah. And now we just wait for the FIA to give us the go-ahead to send one guy in, and then hopefully I can somehow fix the steering quickly, and then we will try our best to get out for the last race.
Being a mechanic as well, I'm like, that's the tools he picked to fix whatever needs to be fixed. Is out of your experience this the most needed?
It's just a guess now, but I hope it works.
All right, so good luck to you. I hope you also have some tape and some cable binders with you over there. Front from FIA is like having a look of what the door is looking like, if it's openable, and there he runs just to quickly help before we might restart the race.
Wow.
I also saw that Steffi's front bumper has a little break, so seems like a lot of cars were like bumping into each other at this second race of this Sunday. So a lot's going on. Chess, back to you for now.
I'm sure you all made a very similar noise to the noise I just made when you saw that Luke Garrett was somehow driving that truck back around the circuit. That's unbelievable. But Tim, being the mechanic that he is, I mean, to be fair, Tim could never be a racing driver because he'd just want to constantly be underneath the thing, fixing it constantly. Franz Stahlberg giving his verdict there is a bit of a shake of the head. Tim looks a little bit rejected by that. We'll see whether anything can be done, but at the end of the day, they need the truck to still be safe to continue on, and if there's anybody that can fix it, it's Tim. But wow, there is, you can see just how far the door was pushed in, but the thing is, that's not going to affect the vehicle itself, and Tim, by the look of it, trying to remove whatever he can. And he's absolutely cracking on with it. Franz Stahlberg there was trying to open the door and shaking his head. Now, I'm unsure which way they'd be looking at that, because obviously if the door isn't going to swing open during the race, then great, you know, that's not going to it's not going to affect anything negatively. It's not going to cause a black and orange flag. But at the same time, if anything else happens, you know, God forbid anything else happens, but you need to get out of that door, is that then possible? You know, that's the thing you've got to think about. Look at the damage there, though. Smashed windscreen as well. The windows are polycarbonate, so they won't have taken a hit. But you can see, look, Franz cannot physically open that door. Somehow Luke Garrett has got that truck back, or what's left of it. You can see even, look, it's bent the A-pillar and the windscreen isn't even straight anymore. The bodywork hanging over. The door is absolutely hanging off. At least you'll get a nice breeze in there, but that's just about the only thing you'll get. Wow. That really does show you, though, if there's ever a physical or visual sign of the resilience of Garrett Truck Sport, that is it right there. That shows you just how resilient and strong this team is. Look how far the door is bent off that thing. That is an unbelievable sight, for one. And you can see all the other teams and everybody looking down the pit lane going, goodness me. Wow. Frankenstein's monster makes its way down. There's the body panel from the side of Antonio Albasetti's truck, handed back to the T-Sport Burnout squad. It's a lovely memento, if nothing else. Lovely bit of airtime for their sponsors and partners, of course. The work continuing on around Albasetti's truck. But just that one little concertina effect into that double right-hander has caused this delay. And I'm hearing word now that the number 23 has been told to safely go to the pit lane. He's not allowed to start the race. That is Antonio Albasetti. That's a big shame. Big, big shame. But at the end of the day, safety is of the utmost priority. So Antonio will not take part in this one. And he's actually getting out of the truck as well. He's very, very unhappy, as you can see. And he's making his way down the grid. And hopefully off the grid. But that is a very, very unhappy Antonio Albasetti right there. It's not often we see him that unhappy, but he's taking a moment and, well, he's showing his displeasure with the marshal on the gantry as well. And he storms back into the paddock. There's not really any other words for that, I'm afraid. The team will head back with him, try to console him. But they now need to get the truck from the grid. The start has now been delayed as a result. And the truck is now reversed away from the grid. Guided away by the FIA as well. I know that Tim does often drive the truck if it needs anything checking. At the end of the day, he's the one that tends to lead any mechanical works on it. But you can see just how far the door is pressed in there and see how much it's deformed the shape of the cab. It leans very far over to the right now. At the same time, though, the positive thing you have to take from that is just how strong these trucks are. I mean, you saw the big hit that there was between Luke and Antonio's trucks, and both of them were able to drive away under their own power and get back round to the start-finish straight. Just shows you how resilient not just the drivers and teams are, but these machines. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? But you have to feel for both of them in this case. Antonio very frustrated with the outcome of that one. He obviously felt that it was the case that they could continue on. Well, hopefully all is well behind the scenes there. A little bit of quiet over the circuit at the moment. You can see, look, that right rear wheel as well has also been slightly buckled. I think that was from the initial contact. Obviously, the first tap in the right rear is what spun him around in front of the field. And then the second contact from Luke is what put pay to the race. I think the scary initial thought for Luke's safety was the fact that his truck is right-hand drive, Antonio's is left-hand drive. So Antonio was luckily away from the impact. But obviously it was on the front right side where Luke is sat in the truck. Fantastic display of the three-point turn ability of these racing trucks here. And look at the caster angle there. This is something I talk about quite a bit in truck racing commentary, but just look how much the wheels lean when they're on quite hefty amounts of steering lock. It's called the caster angle, and it's how, with the weight of the truck, the tyre leans over. It's a different thing to camber. Camber obviously is how the wheel sits sort of inwards when it's facing straight, but the caster angle is how much that wheel leans into the angle of the truck. So if they're going around a very tight corner, then obviously the truck will naturally lean over slightly and pull the tyre away from the surface. What the caster angle does is it compensates for that, and it leans the tyre into the corner to make sure that there's enough of a flat contact patch between the rubber and the road, no matter what the body and the weight of the truck is doing above it, to move it away. But the number 23 sadly makes its way off the grid into the paddock. And that is a real shame to have had it go that way. And we're going to go back down to speak to Lena for just a moment.
And I'm quickly catching Franz because he made the decision that Antonio Albacete is out of race for today. Why so? What happened with the truck?
Unfortunately, obviously, Albacete was involved in an accident with Luke Garrett. He got hit on the passenger door pretty hard. The problem is that the door does not open. So if this truck comes into an incident again, the truck itself, the condition looks okay. It could run, but we can't open the passenger door. So if that truck now falls on the side or anything like that, there's no possibility for any marshal to help him, and therefore we have to deny him to run in this run.
All right, thank you so much. Very, very unfortunate for Antonio Albacete, who already had a second not so amazing race yesterday on Saturday. But now we have more people on the ground who are ready to race, so let's see how this story continues.
Thank you, Lena, and thank you, Franz, for confirming that one. And as I alluded to a moment ago, it was the case of if that truck was in a further incident, obviously, you know, Antonio wouldn't be able to get out. Nobody would be able to get in, you know, if it was necessary to do so. So it wasn't necessarily for the safety of everyone else. It was just more that the safety of the driver in the actual cab would have been at risk. So, and obviously understandable situation and an understandable decision by the FIA and their scrutineers to basically rule the truck out of the race. At the end of the day, safety is the utmost priority. You can't take these risks. It's one of those things, you know, how many times would you have heard it where the pieces fall into place? You know, if that would have been risked, it would have been like writing fate, wouldn't it? You know, that something else may happen and that come into play. So while the frustration from Antonio Albacete is completely understood from a driver's perspective, at the same time, you have to understand the stance of the FIA on that one and the safety. So we go again with the Iveco S-E-Way. And the whole field now makes its way around. I had the word from my good mate Darrell Stamp in the paddock from Luke's team that Luke is all good. He's all okay. I know they confirmed it earlier saying that he was fine, but he said literally he's, yeah, all good. And he's confirmed that he definitely was also fuming with the marshals. But I think Luke's body language told us more than any words could as well. was a very, very fair effort. Dragging that back there is the work that now begins at T-Sport Bernau with the assistance of Andre Kurzim as well. There is Casino on the left-hand side. Good to see him on our screens. He's an absolute character of the paddock. It's funny, actually, I don't know his actual name. I only know him as Casino. But one of the fairest efforts from the entire weekend is Luke Garrett dragging that thing back. Like I said, you know, out of all the resilience that we've seen from Garrett Truck Sport over the years, that is one of the most resilient displays. The anger apparently came from the fact that Luke was telling the marshals, I will drive it back, and they were having none of it. But Luke proved him wrong, I suppose, in the end. Let's try that again, shall we, everybody? Let's get the markers out, and let's go for take 2 in race number 4 of the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Already a move to the left-hand side from Jochen Hahn. He clearly made a good getaway. Norbert Kish had to try and avoid that as well and go all the way around the outside. 3 wide into turn 1. Is that going to work? Not quite. There's a little bit of contact down the inside there as well. Norby's ended up across at the apex. He's run deep and he's got the position from Jochen Hahn. Not sure if he'll have to give that one back because he overtook off the circuit. But up at the very front, René Reinert has taken the lead from Clemens Hecker. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in there as well, wanting a piece of that. There's a big check up at turn 4 again. They're all going to be extra careful around there this time round. Norbert Kish down the inside of Mark Taylor. And still they remain side by side, and there's big contact there. Mark hops over the back of the MAN. That's going to have caused big damage to the left rear of Norby's truck as well. Definitely didn't want any of that, did Mark. And there's a lot of, well, I imagine what would be fluid coming out of that, or is it the front left tyre fouling the bodywork? That was a huge bit of contact, though. Surprised the two of them didn't get stuck together with that. Mark's truck hopped up into the air. He's carried on, but I'm not sure how well that front left tyre is going to hang on. And yeah, there's definitely fluid coming down from that truck. Mark's losing it and losing it. He's having a big slide. John Newell's in there with him as well. Both trying not to go off the circuit. It's clearly putting fluid down somewhere, and, well, tensions have reached a high here in the final race of the weekend here at Misano. Norbert Kish side by side with Clemens Hecker, Steffi Halm and Jochen Hahn side by side. Sasha Lenz has benefited massively from that. Look at all the fluid coming out of Mark's truck. There's a huge stream of it around the circuit. He was slightly keeping it off the racing line. René Reinert leads, though. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in second place. Incident between Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn under investigation. Understandably so as well. I mean, in my eyes, Norby may feel he was forced off the circuit. Sasha Lenz getting past his teammate John Newell. Heads down the inside. They're almost identical trucks from the front. Mark Taylor into the pit lane. Races 2 and 4 not going well for him this weekend. Race 1 and 3 certainly went his way. Now, Clemens Hecker leads the chrome category here, and he needs to hold on to that. Now he's not got Mark Taylor right behind him. He needs to hold on to that to try and take a category victory. I'm just concerned at any fluid that may have gone down from the contact between Mark and Norby. Marshall is on the circuit there, assessing the kink into the final sector, because that's a very high-speed part of the circuit. That's where all the fluid will be there. You can see it down on the racing line where they had that initial bit of contact. You can see the pieces of fiberglass being blown away by the disturbance of the trucks going past us. Yeah, look, there's the fluid. René Reinert's gone straight on. So too is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Somehow Norbert Kish has ended up in the lead of this race, but a lot of them running wide on that fluid down there at turn 8. I'm not sure whether that's going to be considered safe to continue. Jonathan Andre losing a lot of pace there on the exit as well. Bradley Smith trying to come through. There's fluid up at the top. You can see it reflecting on the surface. That'll be all of the coolant and water and whatever else from the front radiator that's come out. It's completely ripped the bumper off Mark Taylor's truck and severed that hose. And that'll be all the coolant coming out. You can see there it's off the racing line, so it's not so bad there, but it's into these next few corners. What's it like? Norbert Kish with big damage on that left rear. Seems like in the final sector it's okay. I don't know if basically the truck had lost all the fluid that it was getting rid of. We're going to go into the pit lane and speak to Lena, see what she can see from there.
Yeah, also maybe get a chance to speak to Mark for a quick second, because he was the closest, obviously. So maybe he can tell us again quickly what just happened. Mark, can you tell us quickly again, out of your view, what happened on the racetrack?
We were down the back of the track. Norbert were between near me. When he took me on the inside, got behind Clemens, cut across me, braked, and I went over the back of him, because it looks like Clemens cut into Norbert.
Okay, so you had no chance to go elsewhere, just crash into him, and you have a huge damage that you're carrying away. I'm very sorry for you and for how this race ended, and a lot of work is waiting before Lausitzring ring now.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of work now for the next round.
Okay, so very sorry. A lot of stuff's going on race number 4. Normally, people are getting tired. There's still excitement. It's reverse grid, so a lot of emotions are coming together. For the spectators, this is an amazing race to watch. For the race car drivers and the truck drivers, sometimes more a very expensive experience.
Apologies there, remained muted when I clicked it to unmute for a second there. Thank you very much, Lena, and thank you, Mark, as well, for taking his time to speak to us even after an incident like that. It seemed like there was a bit of a check-up on the exit of the left-hander. Norbert had nowhere to go, and then, in turn, Mark had nowhere to go as well from that inside line. Clemens Hecker still leads in the Chrome class, but John Newell is right up behind him. The eagle-eyed of you would have seen that Stefan Faas and Christian Ruppert both came into the pit lane at the end of that previous lap. Big shame to have seen the elbows come out in such a fashion in this final race of the weekend. I did say, though, earlier that it's often the most frantic and frenetic race of the weekend. It's Norbert Kiss leading the way, somehow driving around whatever damage there may be on the back of the truck. 3 laps in the books and he leads the way from 8th on the grid. It's just, again, a remarkable drive. Somehow, despite technical issues on Saturday stopping him from qualifying and having to fight through from the back of the grid, a penalty for Jochen Hahn eventually gave Norby the win. He then went on to win race 2. He won race 3 from pole position, as he so often does, and now race 4 has somehow come his way as well, with the incident earlier causing a red flag. Even with the contacts in the opening laps, he is right at the front. René Reinert, second place. Good weekend for him so far, really. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, third. He's been quite consistent so far as Jose Eduardo, but in fairness, I mean, he's not been lighting up the timing screens as much as we've seen before. You can see all the fluid on the way down into the the left-hander there. All the drivers avoiding that by taking a narrower line over on the left. That is René Reinert, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Steffi Halm. Sascha Lenz is behind Jochen Hahn as well. So the 5 of them all together here in close proximity. And it's going to be interesting to see how they sort this one out. There is a number of investigations going on. Just to recap those, we've got black and white flags for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Steffi Halm and Jonathan Andre, and also Jochen Hahn. Both incidents with Norbert Kiss are under investigation. Norbert Kiss and Jochen Hahn down at turn 1, because they were side by side into the first corner. Norbert went off the circuit, whether he was forced there or not, and returned to the circuit ahead of Jochen Hahn, and I believe Steffi Halm as well. And then the incident between Norbert and Mark is also under investigation. I believe that, as Mark described it, Clemens was a little bit slower in front of them and they didn't quite anticipate the check-up, and then there was contact, but we'll have to wait and see. 4 laps in the book here at Misano in the 4th and final race of the weekend of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A bit of contact there between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Steffi Halm. May not have been the cleanest moment on the track, but all the racing is technically clean with the 100% renewable HVO diesel that we run on. And now Jochen Hahn wants a piece of that. Down the inside he goes. Sascha Lenz is in the mix as well, just behind this. They're 3 wide down to turn 4. There's some smoke from somewhere, and Sascha Lenz has got it done. Sasha says, thank you very much to both the Ivecos. Through I go. That's the Sasha Lenz we've been missing. Brilliant stuff from him. He moves up into 4th position, ahead of Steffi Halm and Jochen Hahn. I wonder whether Steffi had any issues, and that's where the smoke came from. Norbert trying his luck a little bit there, moving over to the right-hand side slightly. Now, was that a little bit of smoke coming from the back of Rene Reinert's truck? Was there a little bit of white smoke we could just see there for a second? No further action for the incident in turn 4. And that was the earlier incident that caused the red flag. So there is still the incident between Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn under investigation, and then Norbert Kish and Mark Taylor. Second black and white flag for Steffi Halm. And it was deemed to be Mark Taylor that was involved in the earlier incident with Antonio Albacete. But the race continues on here at Misano. Busy stuff in the final race of the weekend. Norbert Kish streaming away at the front of the order. Fantastic drive again from him. 2:02.4 to the 2:04.1 of Rene Reiner last time round, and that was Rene's fastest lap of the race as well. And Sasha Lenz, Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm just behind. And this quintet certainly battling hard. In the background there, Clemens Hecker and John Newell, by the way. They are the lead pairing in the Chrome class. The rest of the drivers behind them all Chrome drivers as well. We've got Jonathan Andre, 3rd position. Bradley Smith just behind him. Then Stefan Kirsch. I wonder now, can Clemens hold on? He's had a 3rd place, a 2nd place, and now he wants a 1st place in class. John Newell hasn't been on the podium this weekend in Chrome. It would be great for him to fast track his way to the top step of the podium. After he and Sasha have both been working hard on their trucks this weekend, saying that it was very squirrely, very sideways everywhere, and it seemed completely alien to them, as he said. It'd be great for them to be rewarded with their persistence, for their persistence with a podium. In the background, Bradley Smith doing everything he can do to put Jonathan Andre under pressure. He overtook him in the earlier race, so that's going to give him supreme confidence to do it again, and he's already doing it again. Gets a cutback on the exit of the left-hander, squeezes Jonathan all the way over to the right, and through goes Bradley Smith up into 3rd position in the Chrome class. It's 6 Titan drivers at the front, then the entire Chrome field. Stefan Fass, Christian Ruppert, both out of the race it seems, and Mark Taylor. We still wait though to see the decision between trucks 1 and 2, and then 1 and 81. But Norby is driving as quickly as possible to get away from any potential penalty right now. Leads the race by 7 seconds. Rene Reiner, he's holding on brilliantly here, isn't he, ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm sure the two of them would happily take an overall podium as, Sasha Lenz wide out of the final corner. Jochen Hahn gets in front, cuts across to the right-hand side to box him in as Steffi Halm tries to go around the outside now. They remain right together into the first chicane. Steffi swoops around the outside, and suddenly, after gaining 2 places in 1 corner earlier, Sasha is demoted 2 places in 2 corners. Back down into 6th place he goes, as we refocus now on Rene Reiner and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Jose Eduardo back to the ways we've seen him before. Really cutthroat driver is Jose Eduardo. Lovely young man, very quiet and timid out of the truck, but on circuit he is a real force to be reckoned with, and he's proving that now. He says, look, Rene, I know you've been away for a while, mate, but it doesn't matter to me. I am cracking on here. Interesting as well that both of the Reveish Reiner trucks are 1st and 2nd right now. Baloo Jr. and Baloo themselves. We've had a 2nd penalty marker warning for Sasha Lenz as well. That would have been for the run out of the final corner. But things are well underway at the moment, are they not? Well underway. Speaking of well underway, when the season itself is well underway as we get to the halfway point, don't forget we have the International ADAC Truck Grand Prix at the Nürburgring from the 11th to the 13th of July 2025. It is, well, it has been for the last 5 years, my favourite weekend of the year. It really is an absolute party at the Nürburgring, the Truck Grand Prix. And if you're enjoying the action that you're seeing here this weekend at Misano, get your tickets. Try and make it there to the Nürburgring and join us for what is the biggest weekend in the world when it comes to truck racing. It is a massive celebration of these colossal machines on and off the circuit as well. The Mullenbach Schleifer down towards the hairpin, adorned with over 100 show trucks, with their trailers as well in most cases. It's like a skyscraper city of trucks all the way down, and with beacon lights and horns blaring at night with the fantastic fireworks display. There's nothing like it. There really isn't. And you never know, if you're unlucky enough, you might bump into me there as well on site at the Nürburgring. Try and avoid me. Norbert Kish leads the way, then René Reinert second, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in third, Jochen Hahn fourth, Sascha Lenz is still behind Steffi Halm. I realised for a moment there my timing screen on my right-hand side had stopped refreshing, so it was just before Sascha got past Steffi, and Steffi carrying, is that a guilty penalty marker there for Steffi? As, oh, Bradley Smith is dropping down the order, by the way. You can see Marshall running over in the background there with a penalty marker, but Bradley Smith has dropped back a bit here. He's dropped behind Stefan Kirsch and Louis Requenco. Jonathan Andre has now moved up into third place in the Chrome class after Bradley got past him earlier. It's the second race in a row where Bradley has had a random moment. And it's been off camera as well. How very, very strange. René Reinert holding on well here in front of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but Jochen Hahn is now right up behind them again. No further action on the incident between trucks 1 and 2. That was the overtake at the first corner. It strikes me as slightly surprising, actually, with no disrespect to either of them. But I would have thought something may have been done in regards to that. There is the confirmation from race control. No further action between trucks 1 and 2, Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn. René Reinert, though, it's good to have him back, and it's good to have him back and on form as well. He's doing a great job at the moment in second place, hoping for a 1-2 with the team, with Norbert Kish leading the way in Baloo Jr., the new truck. It's got the old truck right behind it, Baloo Senior. But it's not going to be easy for him these last few laps, is it? Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in that MAN is all over the back of him. And then he's got pressure as well from Jochen Hahn. And I think now that Jochen is filling the mirrors a little bit more, Jose Eduardo will get the hurry up to crack on, I think, with whatever he can to make sure that he doesn't get caught out here. You can hear them snatching a break there as they head into the left-hander. There's a penalty marker going flying as well. Bradley Smith now ahead of Louis Requenco. And it continues on. Bradley Smith now making his way back through the order slightly, hoping to make up for whatever the mistake was that he happened to have a moment or so ago. A bit of a scarring race. René Reinert still in front of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, though, and Jochen Hahn. Seems like Steffi Halm and Sascha Lenz have dropped off slightly here. But are they able to get back into the mix? I think if these three fight hard enough, then it will open the door to them for sure. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We have to continue waiting for René Reinert to hold these guys off, though. He's got his elbows out at the minute. Although, to be fair to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, he's not been as aggressive in coming forwards as we'd seen him in the past. I think he knows now with the step up to the Titan category, he needs to have a little bit more of a reserved approach. He was, with no disrespect to any of the others, definitely the fastest in the Chrome class last season. He ended up winning the championship by a considerable margin, but I think this season in the Titan class, he knows that there's drivers in that field that will definitely outpace him. He knows that he wasn't able to win everything last season. We just wait now for a verdict on the Norbert Kish and Mark Taylor contact. I suppose it didn't affect Norby's position, as you know, you so often see it that the vehicle behind affecting the vehicle in front is usually the one that's seen to be at blame. But if there was a check-up, if there was nothing that Mark could have done, as he said, then I doubt a penalty will be forthcoming to either of them. There's a bit of contact with the penalty marker for Jochen Hahn. We've had Louis Requenco get his second warning for penalty markers. There's another one going flying, and another one lay down there by Bradley Smith. Stefan Kirsch was in front of those guys on the previous lap. He's now dropped behind them. Bradley Smith back up into 10th place, 4th position in the Chrome class. But look at the gap there to Jonathan Andre with just a few laps to go. Is Bradley fired up enough now to completely overturn that? We'll have to wait and see. But Louis Requenco has sort of sat in the middle now, while Bradley Smith and Stefan Kirsch have swapped places around him. There's a yellow flag up at the top, and Steffi Halm and Sasha Lenz have both gotten ahead of Jochen Hahn. Was that yellow flag withdrawn? Was Jochen Hahn back on the circuit? I'm just going to check their second sectors. Yeah. Oh, actually, 1 minute and 6 seconds. Second sector for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And then Jochen Hahn has dropped behind Lenz and Halm, as mentioned. So Steffi on for another podium. Jochen losing places. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez also losing places. So something has happened there. I wonder whether Jochen has gotten into the back of Jose Eduardo, trying to chase him down. Whether, again, he's just been caught out by a little bit of a check-up in the field. There is Jose Eduardo ahead of Clemens Hecker, who still continues to lead in the Chrome class, and it was an incident between Jochen Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. It'll be under investigation. An incident that was powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel. It's not to blame. There is Bradley Smith, still ahead of Louis Requenco. And there is the shaken up order. René Reinert now with a lot of breathing room over Steffi Halm, and then Sasha Lenz. He wants his second podium of the weekend. He got a podium in race 2. I was just trying to have a look at Jochen Hahn's truck there to see if I could see any damage. And as you can see, no further action. Quick investigation indeed. Steffi Halm continues on though. She's in a podium spot at the minute, and I imagine very happy with that. Also from race control, incident between trucks 1 and 81 has been reported to the stewards, so very interesting. We'll see what comes of that. That may be an after race penalty or something, if there is one. I can't see it myself, but at the end of the day I'm a commentator, not a steward. I have to steward my own sim racing championships, but that weighs in no way whatsoever to real world motorsport and experience. It's all opinion based at the end of the day. Steffi Halm though still holding on to 3rd place, wanting another podium, and there you go, there's confirmation it will be investigated after the race. They want to focus on the race at hand before anything like that is done. Norbert Kish leads the way, René Reinert next up, Steffi Halm 3rd, ahead of Sasha Lenz, Jochen Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Clemens Hecker continues to lead in the Chrome class. That will be a very popular win if he takes that one. Can't remember the last time we saw Clemens Hecker take a victory in the Chrome class. I think he took one in 2024. I'm going to have a quick look now at the standings that I put together. He got 5 podiums last season. I think the season before that, I didn't have race by race. Yeah, no winner there either for Clemens Hecker. But what about Norbert Kish, everybody? We've seen him do Grand Slams before, but this is just incredible. Absolutely incredible stuff, isn't it? Norbert Kish, one race. FIA European Truck. John Newell finishes in second. Bradley Smith tries it right at the flag with Jonathan Andre, but Jonathan for him. Norbert Kish wins his 4th race of the weekend and takes the Grand Slam once. And Rene Reiner takes 2nd position. Apologies, still having some slight connectivity issues here back at home base in the UK. Rene Reiner 2nd, and Steffi Halm takes another podium. The 2nd overall podium of the season, ahead of Sasha Lenz. Clemens Hecker was next up, winning in the Chrome class, ahead of John Newell, his 2nd podium of the weekend. Sorry, his 1st podium of the weekend. I do apologise. And then Jonathan Andre, his 3rd podium. A very, very busy race indeed. Some incidents and contact to definitely be looked at by the stewards. And a 1-2 for the newly formed Reveish Reiner Racing Team. You can see the sun setting on this weekend already. And Norbert Kish, despite the contact, despite the technical issues that they had at the start of the weekend that kept them out of qualifying, he still comes away with all 4 race victories here at Misano. Fantastic way to start the campaign. He'll be unhappy about the contact, understandably, because the team has quite a bit of repairing to do on that left rear corner. But it didn't slow him down, did it? That 5th wheel may be very second-hand now, but I'm sure that is an easy thing to replace compared to what could have been. He pulls into the paddock. And another race winner. We're going to see another flash of the lights. We very often do, but no, not in this case, it seems. Headlights ablaze, though. Or the LED strips, anyway. And there is, behind Baloo Jr., Baloo Sr. Look at that 5th wheel, though. It's taken a hell of a whack, but it stayed in place, didn't it? That is metal as well, that thing. That's not just cardboard or plastic. That is a metal 5th wheel, that whole thing, and it has been smacked out of shape. But still, the Total Energies branding stays true and holds station. Rene Reiner, 2nd place. Welcome back to the championship, Rene. He'll be very happy with that one. Clemens Hecker takes, I believe, his 1st win in the Chrome class in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Steffi Halm, 3rd place for her. Another podium as well. Blowing kisses to the camera as always, and she gets to celebrate with the team. 2 podiums in 1 weekend. Overall as well. What a great weekend for her and Team Schwab and Truck. And a round of applause also from the Reveish Racing guys too. And hugs all round for the team. Fantastic way to end the weekend, really. A great positive vibe. Rene Reiner makes his way out of the truck. And a quick nod Very well done, sir. And he and his teammate, red and blue, first and second. Franz Stahlberg and Davide Califano make their way around to the back of Norbert Kisch's truck, and he also assesses the damage for a moment there. Davide, as you can see, wants to offer his congratulations, but still with a quick sort of noise for a moment. Pat on the back and a handshake to Rene and Norby. And that the first appearance on the podium this season for Rene Reinert. And, oh, bless him. Oh, bless him as well. Support from all family members. Oh, that's lovely to see. Lovely stuff. Big handshakes all round to the team as well. And little one wants to make sure he gets his hat at least to take up onto the podium. You need the branded hat up there, Sunshine. And big congratulations to Rene Reinert. His first weekend back in the championship after 3 years not racing with us. No practice, no nothing. And we've got Steffi Halm there with Lena.
Yay! Third place again. What a fight, what a race.
Yeah, it was really, really big trouble. During the first start, I had a good start. I was fourth, but there was many crashes. So we had a restart. Then it was a little bit calmer, but later it starts to get a little bit confused. And yeah, I was just lucky in the end to finish third, but I'm really happy to finish this perfect weekend for us with a podium.
Yeah, more points collected in the championship, really nice. Not too much damage going on your truck compared to others. Also speak about Jochen, his truck really looks bad as well. How much did you feel like in the race about what's going on over there?
You know, I just can't see what was happening in front of me. I also had a little contact with Jose, but in the effect I had blocking tires, but nothing happened. But later on, Jochen wants to overtake Jose. He goes inside, but yeah, Jose just closed the door, and then you have nothing to do when you're in the inside. So yeah, it's not good to have so much damage, but I'm lucky that I'm not the one.
And you get your trophy now, and more champagne and more celebration, more party. Rene Reinert, we really need him as well. Rene, come over, come here. Balu Senior and Balu Junior both on the podium, and congratulations for such a strong race and for being back on the podium as well.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling, yeah.
How did it feel for you in the front? Because there was so much going on in the rear. So it seemed like you just did your laps there.
To be honest, I like it much more to be in the front than somewhere else, you know, but for sure. The guys make pressure, not only the guys, also Steffi, you know, and then you have all the time to take care that you don't make a mistake. And then maybe sometimes it slows you down a little bit because you try too much avoid mistakes. So, and then we had already, actually every race, some fluid or some liquid on the track. That a really big luck because you're in the corner here. I make a big braking and there was no braking, so I go straight. But the guys behind me also, but Norby not, so he find a better line in this case, and it was really easy for him to overtake me. But even speed, it's not possible to follow him, you know.
Yeah, but you also have a very nice pace, very nice speed for having had a break of 3 years just to come back like this. It really shows how good of a driver you are, and obviously Balu also feels fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So many things what you have to do in the truck, you know, with the water, with the speed, and everything, you know, and then also the track, you know, it's not easy in the beginning. So I'm happy that I could come so fast in, you know, and also could find some time. So first day I was not so happy. It was far away from my expectations, but today was much more better.
I think you can be happy, and I think you can go and get your trophy. And I also need Clemens to come over here because he had third place, second place, and now first place. So you really fought through this week, and congratulations for collecting a lot of points, actually.
Yes, it was a great weekend. So we don't know yesterday, but yesterday evening was great, and today so many more people in the Chrome class, and we won the race.
All right, so you go get your trophy. Congratulations for making it in the class more up, and I'm confident to see you back because you also came much stronger this year, it feels like.
Yeah, we put a lot of work in the truck over the winter time, and so I have less power than the MAN. You can see it on the outside of the corner, so I have to win everything on the brake inside. But we're on a good way.
All right, so you go up there, go get your trophy. We have chats with the highlights, and I have a goodbye because I have my own race now. I have to run to the airport because of the delay. I'm already saying bye at this point, but I can't wait to see you again. Celebration, highlights, see you soon. Thank you.
I'm joking. Thank you once again, though, Lena, for such a great weekend here to start the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. What a busy race that was, hey? We had some wonderful scenes on the grid before the race got underway, but unfortunately, a big incident down at turn 4 involving the likes of Antonio Albacete, Mark Taylor, Steffi Halm, and then Luke Garrett would bring out the red flag, and somehow the two trucks that you saw there got driven back to the pit lane and to the start-finish straight. And unfortunately for Antonio Albacete, despite driving the truck back, it was determined that he would not be able to continue on with the race based on the damage that there was on the door of the truck. All the trucks were brought into the pit lane in the end, but Luke Garrett was towed away and then said, "No, I can drive this out, boys. Don't you worry about this." Tim Frost, superhero mechanic that he is, doing what he could to fix the damage, but ultimately, as the door couldn't be opened on that side of the truck, just in case it would need to be, obviously they were not allowing Antonio to continue. Luke Garrett showed his versatility and resilience as he drove that incredibly mangled number 42 back. Antonio Albacete showed us just how angry he could be. I, for one, quite enjoyed the little protest down towards the marshal at the end, but at the same time, his anger can be understood. The contact between Mark Taylor and Norbert Kish happened at the start of the restart, and then, of course, there was fluid down on the circuit, so drivers had to be careful all the way through the rest of the race. Down at turn 6, there was a lot of fluid in particular, and the drivers that came across it first were the likes of René Reinert and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. That meant Norbert Kish could lead the race, and he would storm off into the front, as we've seen him do before. There were great battles, though, involving Steffi Halm, Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and René Reinert, all the way to the flag at the end. René holding on brilliantly for second place and his first podium of the season, and Clemens Hecker led the way in the Chrome class right until the end, ahead of John Newell and Jonathan Andre. But once again, Norbert Kish taking 4 wins out of 4 on a race weekend, doing an incredible job here at Misano, and we'll have a quick look at the results before we head to the podiums. Norbert Kish, 4 out of 4 for him this weekend, ahead of his teammate René Reinert. Steffi Halm, 2 podiums for her, with Sascha Lenz in 4th and Jochen Hahn in 5th. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was then ahead of Chrome winner Heinrich Clemens Hecker, John Newell next up with Jonathan Andre, and Bradley Smith completing the top 10. Behind them, Louis Requenco and Stefan Kirsch were the only other finishing drivers. Stefan Fast not completing the race. Mark Taylor also not completing the race, same as Antonio Albacete, Luke Garrett, Christian Ruppert as well. So trophies ready to go for the final time this weekend. René Reinert about to receive his first trophy. Steffi Halm welcomed onto the podium, a thumbs up and a wave to the crowd. A great way to start her championship in 2025. The pace is definitely there with Steffi in this season, and she is really a force to be reckoned with in the opening moments. Called up next onto the podium for the first time this season, René Reinert. Welcome back to the championship. He's very pleased with that one. A big handshake to Steffi, and he makes his way to the second step of the podium. But, of course, for the 4th time this weekend, our race winner is Norbert Kish. Reverse Racing once again untouchable with the Grand Slam. He and his teammate, first and second. I know that it'll mean a lot to Norby to see that his, in inverted commas, old truck is being looked after. René Reinert doing a great job there. Baloo Senior and Baloo Junior, first and second. There's his first trophy of 2025. Holds it aloft with a big on his face. You love to see it. Norby sort of passing on his congratulations there from the top step, and he too gets another trophy as well. Great work this weekend to overcome that problem that they had in qualifying, and 4 wins out of 4 for him and the team. I hope you could hear it, as I couldn't hear it at my end, but the Hungarian national anthem blares out over the circuit. And the top 3 will form together on the top step of the podium. Have their pictures taken. Not sure if there'll be a changing of the hats or anything anytime soon. But they will make their way back out to the back of the podium in just a sec, after some champagne, of course. And we'll celebrate in style, I'm sure, this evening here at Misano. It's a hell of a place to celebrate. Now, what about, I was going to say, Norbert Kish and René Reinert. Welcome back, René, they say. I think they didn't want to soak his earpiece too much. But I bet Norby was hoping to be able to celebrate with René, his teammate, this season. And he's got more champagne in his eyes than in his mouth. Bless him. I'm sure he enjoyed that, really, though. I'm sure he enjoyed that. I don't think he would have been expecting it to come in the first weekend, though, of this season. He'll be over the moon with that one. There's the championship standings then as we leave Misano. Norbert Kish, 50 points out of 50. And I believe, actually, no, they're not added up, because we would have 60 out of 60 with Norbert Kish. Either way, Norby leads the way. We know that much anyway. Jochen Hahn, I imagine, still in second place. He didn't lose 10 points to Steffi in that one. Antonio Albacetti scored no points, though, so he definitely will not still be in fourth position. There'll be a few drivers that have overtaken him there. A real shame that, though, for Antonio and the squad. As the announcer makes his way onto the podium, so too does Jonathan Andre. Third place for him. Another thumbs up. A great weekend to start his campaign. He's only a race-by-race entrant this season, but he's made the most of it here at Misano with 3 podiums, a third place, a first place, and then another third. John Newell, almost a sigh of relief for John as he gets his first podium of the season. And Clemens Hecker takes his first win in the Chrome class in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and he is welcomed up onto the podium, and a big smile on the face of the usual unflappable German. He's very stone-faced sometimes, Clemens. You can never tell what he's thinking. He's got a very, very dry sense of humour as well, but he is certainly a happy boy right now on the top step. John Newell has some silverware to take back to the UK as well, and there he is, your Chrome class winner. And I'm sure a lot of people have been wanting to see that for a while. Clemens Hecker wins. And there you go, the German national anthem for Clemens Hecker, our class race winner in the Chrome class. And he will leave Misano a very happy boy, like I say, after taking multiple podiums this weekend and eventually standing on the top step. They will now spray champagne. Not sure at one another. Clemens makes sure at least the other guys get a bit of a soak in. John Newell tries to get him back. And it's all part of the fun. That is the Chrome class then, and as is often the case at the end of these weekends, we'll have the young drivers podium in just a moment, but first we will see the standings. As I'm told by director Sebastian, these are the overall standings that are now corrected. Norbert Kish with 60 points to the 45 of Jochen Hahn. Steffi Halm in third place on 37, clear of René Reinert, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Antonio Albacetti. Sasha Lenz 7th ahead of Mark Taylor. Clemens Hecker joining him on 9 points, and then Jonathan Andre completing the top 10. Behind them, Bradley Smith on 6 points, John Newell on 4, Luke Garrett on 2, and Louis Requenco, the last of the point scorers so far this season. And quickly we'll look at the Chrome standings as well. I'm told these ones are correct as well. Chrome now led by Clemens Hecker. Would you look at that? 41 points for him. Mark Taylor on 40. Jonathan Andre 38. 35 apiece for Bradley Smith and John Newell. Luke Garrett on 22 with Louis Requenco just behind. Stefan Kirsch on 19 points and Christian Ruppert has 7 for his troubles so far. A great start to the championship for Clemens Hecker to lead the Chrome class as they come away. Bradley Smith takes to the second step of the podium in the young drivers category, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez taking to the top step. The two of them will both be really pleased with how their weekend has gone to begin their championship. Bradley, another trophy for him this weekend, but he'll be a bit gutted with the fact that his second and third races of the weekend didn't go as well as the rest. And the Portuguese national anthem, Portuguese I was supposed to say. National anthem there ringing out at Misano. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Bradley Smith smiling away on the podium. And they're just going to chink the bottles and take the champagne. No, maybe not then. Any opportunity to spray champagne, why not? Big grin on the face of Bradley Smith. And that's going to be all from me here at Misano for the first weekend of the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and everybody else as well. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage here this weekend. Norbert Kish takes another Grand Slam, and we'll see you in a week's time, everybody, when we head to the Lausitz Ring with DTM. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic weekend, that one. And then a couple of weeks later, we'll head to the Slovakia Ring. And before we know it, we'll be at the Nürburgring for the Truck Grand Prix. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.